The internet Nofap community ranges from the vanilla, run-of-the-mill self-help community over to these religious cult-like sects who all believe in refraining from jerking the gherkin, battling the bishop, taming the dragon, choking the chicken, fastening the chin strap on the helmet of love. Some of the benefits that people claim from it are more energy, more concentration, deeper voice, gaining muscle, women approaching them out of nowhere, and seeing through the fabric of time and space. The question is, does it work? I think there are 4 possible mechanisms for the benefits that people are claiming from Nofap. The first one, and the most plausible, is the resetting of dopamine sensitivity in relation to increased sexual novelty that people get from internet pornography. The second is improvement in subjective self-image through closing that gap of cognitive dissonance from a behaviour that they might associate with guilt or shame through societal or religious influence. Third is the more esoteric explanation of yogic and tantric traditions, which are talking specifically about retaining semen and cultivating your life essence. And then the fourth one, which I see thrown around the most, is to do with testosterone and ejaculation. The data actually suggests that there's no real acute relationship between the two, possibly a transient increase at week 1 and week 3 of sexual abstinence, but it's nothing to write home about. So the dopamine sensitivity and maladaptive response theory is the most evidence-based one. If you look at the rat studies where they're exposed to multiple new female rats, they end up with a progressive desensitization to novel sexual stimulus. The same thing happens in humans through the reward center being short-circuited through quick, on-tap access to sexual novelty. Some of the signs of dopamine dysregulation can look very similar to depression. Low mood, disrupted sleep, impaired sexual performance, pleasure-seeking behavior, increased cravings and reactivity. This behavior can very quickly spiral into a binge cycle, where there's the binge followed by the craving, followed by the numbed pleasure response and the self-imposed guilt and feeling bad about yourself, and that whole thing just turns into this big cycle. Combine that with the guilt and shame of not being able to speak to anyone about it, and you end up with this downward cycle. So what I see in the benefits that people get from Nofap looks like that it's people coming from a pathological state into a normal state, and the benefits that they're seeing are really the absence of a pathological behavior. The question is, do these benefits exist for someone that doesn't have these maladaptive behaviors? I think you're unlikely to see these same kind of benefits. A lot of people who espouse these massive benefits from Nofap will often not realize that maybe that was the lead domino in making a lot of other positive changes in their life, and they assign it all to that one thing. There is also that depression is associated with an increased frequency of masturbation. Makes sense. You're in the house more, you're more isolated, there's this cycle of binge craving behavior as well. So that's more of a symptom than a cause. And so as someone lifts out of depression, you're going to see that frequency decrease. The other thing that's going on here is the confirmation bias. That someone has found an online support structure and it helps to confirm all of the behaviors that they're already doing. With any addiction or maladaptive behavior, the poison is in the dose. And that's why it's so possible to have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol, yet not to drink at all. Because you know that that's the can of worms that if you open, it's going to be trouble. So you just avoid it entirely. The ultimate state is to be able to have a beer if you want to and take it or leave it. Somebody asked me about this a few months ago, specifically in relation to being able to find a relationship and breaking free of social isolation, which I go more in depth into in the video there somewhere. But the cliff notes from that are, don't manipulate yourself to be compatible with someone. You need to basically cultivate a lot of the stuff that we cover in our other videos so that you become the kind of person that people are attracted to, rather than trying to push yourself into a square hole. Not in a dodgy way, but the key is to invest in yourself, replace negative habits with positive ones, develop honesty and vulnerability, recognize that rejection is forgiven and it's not a reflection of you and your character, and to start that snowball today. Final thought on this is that from an evolutionary standpoint, watching someone else copulate while you sit back as a third party is probably not good for your brain. Your brain recognizes that that does not put you at an evolutionary advantage, and it's going to behave in line with that as well. So let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree, if you have any questions, And also remember that we offer a limited number of call slots every week to help you break through the next plateau, but they fill up very quickly, so make sure you grab one with the link below, and I'll speak to you soon.